Hello and welcome to round 5 in my F1 2014 career season with Toro Rosso. You're looking here at footage from Q1. It's boys, I had a pretty bad car, so getting out of Q1 was a challenge, so that's why we're looking at my Q1 time. It is really fun to watch. There is a Force India ahead of me. Thank God I didn't run into him at the first corner, but this is actually my second timed lap. My first timed lap was over 1.7 seconds slower than Jean-Eric Vergne, so 1.7 seconds lower than my teammate. I'm usually half a second to a second quicker than him in the qualifying of the previous session, so that's how much I was struggling with this car on this track. The AI is so OP here, was ridiculous. The amount of time I lose basically coming out of the last turn to the end of sector 1, that's just usually it's like a differential of 2 seconds between me and like someone like Jean-Eric. The only place where I can gain a little bit is the third sector, but mostly I lose out everywhere. And if I'm lucky, I break even in this this sector here. 1.7 seconds. Still now the gap to Rosberg, barely only beating my own time. So if I go smoothly through this sector, I may be able to gain some. Now this corner is terrible. It's a bit like Melbourne, where I have to half throttle halfway through the corner. I can only just push it full start. 2.4 seconds slower, 1:28.153. That's my current fastest lap. There comes Kobayashi out of the pits, but I haven't done all that session. So here's my third try, and there comes another car out of the pit lane at the wrong bloody time. Look at who it is. It's Kobayashi. I have to sort of go wide, do not make the corner. I'm like, fuck you, Kobayashi. I pretty much already gave up before the corner. I could have continued on, obviously, but yeah, there was no point anyway after that moment. Well, that encounter with the Japanese driver means I'm stuck in 17th place. I probably would have been able to improve a 10th or so to maybe at least get into Q2, but it wasn't meant to be today. And I'm realizing at this point, or actually in practice I already realized it, I was not going for points today. So really the only challenge I had today, and I wasn't even sure I could manage that when I started this race, that belief only came later on, is could I beat my teammate? So quickly going through the grid, Rosberg and Hamilton in front, then Alonso, Ricciardo, Hülkenberg up into 5th. Wow. This game really loves Hülkenberg and sort of downplays Perez a little bit, as it does the Williams cars, but there you go, that's how it's balanced. That's what I deal with. There are mods that can improve everything, but I don't want to mess too much with that kind of stuff. I usually have like the texture mods going on, like my own helmet and the Williams car, and that's pretty much the only thing I did. As for strategy, there's a 23% chance of rain. Most likely it will hit near the end of the race when it's a low percentage, and maybe it might not even be enough to switch to inters if we're lucky. Probably would have to, but inters is usually okay for me. I mean, grip and traction really becomes a problem when I have to go to full wet, so we're gonna see. I still don't drive with any assists, by the way, apart from the first race. The assists have been off, so I've been trying my best. AI, of course, is on expert, going for a 3-stopper, knowing I'm going to be slow on the primes. Hopefully the speed advantage of the options will help me get in front a little bit more. We'll have to see what happens. We'll have to see. So let's move on to the grid, looking at the front row. Of course, yeah, my engineer's rubbing it in. We're ready for another poor start. Watch most of the field blow by me. Kobayashi, Bianchi. I can't really tell. on the curbs. Ooh, slipping by, avoiding an accident. And the Force India go by. Sitsu on the left, Gutierrez on the right behind me in the mirrors. And first big braking zone where the eye has to go slow. And I can do it again, maybe even turn up to 12th, I'm up to 13th, slip by. Look at that, no contact whatsoever. So one of maybe the first occasion where I haven't really touched anybody on the start or on the opening lap even. Guys ahead of me are already breaking away, obviously. Ricardo, we had a piss poor start. Stuck in 7th. Ricardo. So we're reaching the end of lap 1. There you go, 1.1 seconds behind Bottas, already out of the DRS zone, and this, look how much they're going. So hopefully we get to see till sector 1. You can see how quick they are. So 1.1 at the line. .9, so 8/10 I lose from the start finish line to the end of sector 1. That's a lot. That's so much. .4, of course, more time now. Button is now behind me. And with DRS now activated, I'm probably not going to have much of a chance to keep that guy behind me. There's a detection point. Of course, he's within a second. Rosberg, a massive, more than 3 seconds quicker than me. A bit hard to see on my preview winner. He did 1:26, I did 1:29, and boom, there was. But did you see him? I barely saw him. He was so freaking fast. I just didn't really bother with him. Not much I could do anyway. Couldn't even. Yeah, it's just too much over speed, and I'm still struggling to get through those corners with full throttle. But it's not possible with full throttle. I have to lift. Cannot go there. Yeah. Flat out. So they got some major advantages here on this track. Get too much curb, I have to step off the throttle to avoid spinning, because that works in this game. Of course, meaning that Magnussen is right behind me. He looks at the right side, looks for a gap. He's good on the brakes, but I've got the inside line and he has to stay behind me for a little bit longer. One more lap to be more precise. We get onto the straight once more. He's very close behind me, even closer than Button was. 0.2 of a second. DRS is open. I don't even move to the inside. Just let him have it. Again, he's too quickly. Gets early gap, and now you'll see him disappear. Again, I was 2/10 ahead of him. And I'm 1 second behind me, so 1.2 seconds lost in sector 1. Awesome. There goes a lap later. Force India goes past me like I'm standing still. And then he stopped, pretty much decides to go really slow, like to tell me, like, look at me, look at you. That was a bit weird moment. The other guys didn't really do that. So there was a bit of contact, but yeah, nothing that damages my car or his. Or even after the game would give me a warning. Let's go a second slower, and you can always see a red-colored Ferrari in my mirrors. It's Raikkonen. Interesting to note here, as we're on the lap where I will pit the first time. And another moment too soon, as you can see. Vern has pitted the lap before me. You can see him on the mini-map. He's down below in Sector 2 right now. Getting ready to turn left up the hill. As I'm in the twisty, bendy bits of the final sector. Drive slow to keep the car under control. Missing, or a little bit too antsy on the braking. Missing the apex by quite a bit. Drifting a little bit through the corner. The mix hits. Basically full throttling all the way down until the game puts the limiter on automatically. Nice clean stop. I haven't really seen any big deviations. It's always been... I don't think I've ever seen a stop, at least in my career races, that has been outside the 3.8 or 3.6. So anyway, I pitted right in front of my teammate. And I can't tell which tires he's on. I don't see any clear markings, so I think he is on the primes, and he's a lot quicker than me. Ooh, and I almost lose the car. It gives him an opening. I defend on the inside, squeeze him a little bit in the braking zone, a bit cheeky. I think there's enough space for him though. And I stay ahead of him for this lap. Now we've caught up to the Caterham of Kobayashi. The guy who's been getting out in the way out of the pit entry, out of the pit lane during qualifying, and actually he goes out of my way going into the pit lane, so thank you. Go to high mix, open my wing, while helping me defend from him. He's still faster using the draft to his advantage, gets a little bit next to me but has to yield. I have to go down the third to keep the corner. Going very hot. Lifting. And only now, like 3/4 way through the corner, is when I can start throttling out of it. Raikkonen, of course, came out ahead of me. He has much more speed even on worn tires, so he's away and gone. Again, I go high mix. Vern is back at me again with Renault Power versus Renault Power. But he has a draft, he has DRS. It takes him a little bit longer to get past me, so I'm going for it. I'm going to outbrake him. Ooh, make a little bit of contact. Backside of it for the second one. The Sauber car almost pushes him out of the way, and I drift through the corner quite spectacularly. So, moving a little bit on now. Vern pits. May have just spotted it in the mirrors. You can see it on the mini-map. You could have seen it, but now you can see it a bit more clearly. A little bit, only a few corners later, I'm being haunted, I should say, haunted by the Sauber. It's surprisingly so, if we lose the car, trying to keep it straight, get into contact with the Sauber behind me, break off a little bit of his wing, get a warning for it, which is understandable in that sense. Could have been not worse though. So that will probably surely give Vern enough of a leeway to get past me, because since he was close behind me before he went to the pit lane. It's going to be close though. Is it? No, he's got me. I've only now got a throttle open. You see him come by now. There he is. It actually is still pretty close. But with this figure, I was like, oh dang, he's gone now. I did see he wasn't the prime tires, but I believed he wasn't the prime tires in the previous thing as well. He was quicker than me still. So it was a bit of a moot point in that sense. But turned out to be okay. In this third sector, I was suddenly crawling towards him quite quickly. Maybe he was saving fuel. I wasn't sure. But I wasn't really complaining. Now keep your ears open and listen for the engineer for what's about to happen next. I'm in the attack range. High mix. Son of a bitch. Son of a bitch. Did you see how bloody close that was to where the DRS is allowed to open? It was next to nothing before the line my DRS broke. Unbelievable timing. I was so pissed off. Thank God I had enough of the draft that I could just about make the pass. And I pull ahead of my teammate once more. And actually he went quite a bit slower through there. Now I'm 1.7 seconds ahead of him, which is nice. And I'm quickly going after Max Chilton. All the marshals are always waving blue flags around. But they got nothing bloody better to do. Sort of forced my way past the Marusha, but yeah. I should have been driving there, really. Sorry, Max. Oop, a big little wobble there, but kept it together. So, here we go, lap 20. A few laps later, and I've pulled a 5.3 second gap. Gutierrez is just about 10 seconds ahead of me. And that gap stays about the same. As you can see, 9.5 is the distance to the guy ahead of me. And I get blue flags for what I believe is Nico Rosberg. I go slow, stay wide. He comes, and for some reason he feels the need to ram into me. And this whole incident cost me about 4 seconds, which was pretty much almost my entire lead. Which was highly annoying. So the rain has been forecast a few laps ago. I think it was lap 17. I decided a little bit earlier, since I wasn't, or I believed I wouldn't be able to make it, or make my options last. So I decided to go a little bit earlier on the primes and get some good running in on those while I still can. I actually make Rosberg wait for me as I come into the box after him. This is like a nice little FU back to him, being a douchebag with blue flags. Anyway, of course he is still out and on his way again. You can see Vern is quite far ahead of me. Drifting again in the bloody corner, there's no grip. Once again there's another blue flag, this time it's Lewis Hamilton behind me, can't really see it from the mirrors, but we'll confirm it in a moment as well. Lonely in 18th place at the moment. Step off the throttle. Almost turned back to the line too soon, but slightly more efficient. And the Rosberg passing. Hamilton his fastest lap of the race at the moment. But Rosberg is having none of it and goes quicker even still. There he goes. Now there's Vern on the right side coming out of the pit lane, and he's too far ahead of me. So he's passed me again. The blue flag's not helping me. So we're gonna have some interesting times ahead of me. We're gonna stay with this for long. So we're still on lap 25. Vern just passed me on the pit exit. There he jumped me again. Then this happens ahead of me. Suter goes really slow as Raikkonen passes him. I have to brake really hard, locking my tires, but I still gain the position. No high mix, by the way, and I'm driving really messily at the moment. Then Raikkonen goes really slow again. Rosberg goes even faster in the meantime. somehow I'm even the goddamn second away, not even getting DRS. Stick with him, but of course City behind me will have DRS. And Vern goes really slow as he tried to overtake. I pretty much hit him. City tries to exit the opportunity, but I managed to keep him behind me. And we get blue flags for Red Bull there. And they're going to try it again. They're letting him pass on the inside, taking a wide line. This time it works well. It's Vettel in third place, fighting with his teammate Ricciardo, because I'm still getting blue flags. Not letting him pass through at the moment. Vern slows down on the apex. You can see raindrops starting to fall. I actually hit the back of him and he sort of moves aside. It's felt very awkward. There he goes. There comes Ricciardo. So I don't really have to slow down. And I gain the position over my teammate once again. But we're not quite done yet, because Raikkonen is still ahead and he's also going to have to let these guys pass. And he's going to do that brilliantly as well. Stopping on the apex again. I hit him as well since he's going so unbelievably slow. I just like, screw you, get out of my way. And I take his position and we're up to 15th place. No, not bad. Okay, 2 places. Have a little bit of fun with these cars around us. Whoop, I sort of accidentally squeezed Raikkonen. Wouldn't really expect him in. Of course, the Ferrari is much quicker than Vern would be. But I keep him stuck behind me. More blue flags. It's another Ferrari, so if it's a Ferrari, it has to be Alonso. I think Raikkonen has pitted, because Vern is now in 16th, or he actually immediately passed him, abusing Alonso. Wouldn't be surprised that's the case. And it's getting a little bit slippery out there. I've with the rain coming down, I've put the tire temp screen up. Now I don't quite have to do that, since you can always also see it from the other screen. So Goodyear's 21 seconds ahead of me. So yeah, we're not catching him. It's about staying in a Vern, defending my honor as a team, and I'm struggling. Tire temps seem fine, but I have to be. I've started losing grip, so it's a bit odd in that sense. They are not suffering. So 1 lap later, at 30, tire temps are still reasonably okay. They're a little bit cooler, but nothing major. But I am already slipping and sliding. At least I'm quite a bit slower, as you can see. 1.5 seconds slower than my previous lap. This is pretty much the moment where I feel like, alright. And now there's only like 2 laps for me to go. And my engineer says it as well. Like, dude, it's probably a smart idea to pit for intermediates. And I know how bad it can be if you are on the wrong tires. And if I already have to go slow down this much, I'm not going to keep him behind me, and I probably end up losing more trying to keep the car on the track than I actually would going into the pit lane. So go to the pit lane, grab a set of intermediates, which I've already pre-selected, which I usually do in moments like these. This on the straight I pre-selected rather than at the moment I hit the box. So in a clean 3.7 stop. Once more I go to Inters. I seemingly am the only person who does that. There is a Ferrari, I think that's Raikkonen. Yes, he passes me. For something he's having an abysmal race as well. And he has to slow down a lot, which means I am on the right tires, because they are suddenly they're slowing down massively. I have right against the back of him, and I'm already happy that I made this choice. So I'm either gonna pit or stay out. Either way, I will catch them. I will catch my teammate. I'm pretty positive. There are 2 Williams cars ahead of me. They're also going slow, braking very early to keep the car on the track, and I'm braking pretty late. And with grip and everything, I go past him. Massa brakes very early. I almost hit the grass. I have to put my foot off the pedal to keep it on the track. So I made the right call. Was the first to go to switch to Inters. A few other guys stopping in the final lap or the final 2 laps for some. I'm of course a lap down, so I will only have 32 laps on the board. Sutil 15 seconds ahead of me. Look at the minimap. Are they pitting? Are they staying out? Vern is in the box. Another guy is in the box. More people are in the pit lane. They are stopping, realizing all they could lose. Some guys were too late, I guess, and stayed out. So this is my final lap on this Grand Prix, and look how much I've gained in that 1 lap. Vern is still not out of the pit lane. I already feel like it's almost time to go to full wets, but I can manage, of course, 1 lap, just taking it slow. I have the advantage over my teammate. I pretty much have 15th place secured. How far is Gutierrez? He's 19 seconds ahead of me still. I wonder if he actually pitted. I think he did, because I don't get anywhere close to him. So I'm assuming that he did. Just making it slow. Easy on the throttle. I think I'm on Lee Mix. There we go. Nico crosses the finish line, winning his 5th race of the season. 5 in a row. Seems untouchable at the moment. I dive into the last sector. It seems he may not have pitted, because I'm gained 4 seconds on him. But he's not struggling as much as other cars seemingly do. Or he was just have more of a gap than I thought, because I'm going to catch somebody before the start finish line. It's a red car over there. It's Alonso. So I'm going to unlap myself. He is still just struggling. Of course, there's no point in going to the box now. I have to step off the gas in order not to hit him and catch him, and unlap myself from at least Alonso. So there you go. Of course, didn't get anywhere near 12th place today, but I'm happy that I beat my teammate in this race. So my team didn't expect me to score points, and neither did I, but at least I've won the race battle, even though I lost out on qualifying, finishing up in 15th place. So Nico won, he was 2nd, Vettel 3rd, Ricciardo 4th, Alonso 5th. We saw him, of course. Nico, so the top 11, Grosjean in 12th, so not bad for him. Felipe Bottas nipping a few points again. Maldonado in 13th. Also, of course, a lap down. So decent result for Lotus, but no points for them, of course. Gutierrez actually have a slightly faster lap than my teammate as well, which is surprising. Sutil behind them, of course, 17th place for the German. And Max Chilton, Kimi Räikkönen 19th. I guess that he didn't pit. And we have one DNF, which is Jules Bianchi. He did not make the finish line. So there you go, 11 points. Nothing changed here today. Valtteri Bottas is 9th ahead of me. And look at that, Nico, 125. As clean as a whistle, 5 wins. That's quite amazing, even for AI cars. So we're gonna prepare ourselves for another horrendously difficult Grand Prix. At least as far as I'm concerned. I never feel comfortable at that track, and with these cars it will probably be worse. If it rains, it's gonna be even more worse. Of course, I'm talking about the Prestige Grand Prix Monaco, and it's probably gonna be not very different from today. But now we have to just fight our way through it. We're gonna go to tracks I like a little bit more, like Austria, Canada, and everything. So see you guys next time. Bye bye.